What is up, everybody? This is Erik, the one and only bear collector, and today I am reviewing a game that is very memorable to me. A game that around the time of the year, around January, around this time, I actually get a lot of nostalgia over it because of something very special with the game, and I'll explain in a minute. But also, as of the making of this video, it apparently looks like this game is a game that's expensive to own. I don't know. I've seen it for cheaper. But there's one reason, and I'll explain again. I'll explain that in a minute. And that game is Dick Tracy for the Genesis. Now, this game came out back in 1991, and you play as Dick Tracy out to defeat Big Boy and his henchmen and arrest them and get them, as based in the movie and in the comics and whatnot. Now, if you can see this cartridge right here, it says Mega Drive. And of course, if you guys read that, it says Tech Toy, Brazil. So, yes, I'll go over that again in a minute. So basically, the game is a 2D side-scrolling, not a platformer, but platformer and a shooter. Dick Tracy has a handgun to defeat the bad guys, as well as in the background. Something that's unique about this game is that you'll have that in the background where you can shoot your Tommy gun and you'll just shoot the background, like you'll shoot the enemies in the background and whatnot. And that's what makes the game very unique, because you got part of the level, enemies come to you from the background and enemies right in front of you. And there's also like a small police chase scene. So all in all, very basic arcade style of a game. And the Sega Master System version of it, back in the days, I want to say I owned the Sega Master System version. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But it's very similar to this one. And of course, I owned the NES version of Dick Tracy. I could have done a Let's Compare on the games, but I chose not to. I decided to do each game separately. And basically, the NES version is different. It's more of it's also a 2D side-scrolling platformer, but it's more of a detective style game. It's different than this one, very different. But going back to this one, of course, like I mentioned, it's a arcade style shooter, and you go through levels defeating the henchmen to get to Big Boy. Now, one of the things that makes this game unique, as you can see right now, it says Mega Drive, and of course, Mega Drive cartridges are shaped differently. And this one's shaped like a US version of a shell, but like you saw in the back, it says Tech Toy, Brazil. So this is basically the Brazil version of Dick Tracy. Now, interesting story of how I got this one is I won a bid. People weren't bidding on it, and it was going for really low. And the guy in the description was mentioning that this was a reproduction, not knowing that it's not a reproduction. It's actually an authentic game. It's just a different, like you have PAL versions of the game, and he was selling it for cheap because he said he picked it up when he went to travel in a different country, and he picked it up and played it. But the thing is that he was selling it for cheap, that it was a reproduction. Now, Tech Toy is the company that did a lot of Sega games in Brazil. Tech Toy is the company that, after the Sega Master System games died off in the US, of course, as many of you may know, the Sega Master System became very popular in Brazil, and Tech Toy was one of its major distributors with Sega. So they were distributing games, and of course, they also made certain games into different franchises that were popular in Brazil. One example I can think off the top of my head is for the Sega Master System. You have the game Ghost House, which was a Sega card, and that game became Chapulín Colorado, which is very famous in Latin America, famous where I'm from in Mexico. Very popular character on TV. And in Brazil, they really like the Chavo del Ocho, Kiko, and all of those characters from El Chavo del Ocho in Brazil. They were very popular down there. And so they made a game based off that, and Tech Toy released those games. Also, I also own another Tech Toy game for the Sega Master System. It's but that's a story for another day. It's the Jungle Book that I own. So yeah, so this one basically, it's not a reproduction. It's an actual cartridge. And so yeah, I got it for that reason, because I was looking for Dick Tracy as a memorable game, and I'll explain right now. Even though I guess this game, the tech toy variant of it, goes for a lot more money, I'm not sure. I don't know. But the main reason why I got it was because this game, and I've mentioned this before in some other reviews, it was part of a set of games that I played when I was in Mexico. One of the last times that I was in Mexico and my grandmother was still alive. And I remember the day that we hit Mexico in the evening after getting off of the plane. We always used to go to my grandmother's house and spend the night after, everything was settled at our own house in Mexico. And spending the night at my grandma's, it was fun. It was great to see her. And it was one of the last times that I enjoyed seeing my grandma before she got really sick and eventually passed away a few years back. And one of the games that I remember playing was Captain America and the Avengers for the Genesis. This game, Dick Tracy. And there was the other game, Rocket Knight Adventures. Those were the three games that I enjoyed playing. And that evening I couldn't sleep because I had a little bit of jet lag from being in the plane, and and I just kind of wasn't feeling tired, and I was kind of just feeling out of it. But it soothed me playing these games and having fun to play it, and I was playing them on a Sega Nomad. So yeah, and this game was one of those memorable games that I played a lot during that time, and I really enjoyed it. I really liked this game. Very fun game that I enjoyed a lot. I don't know if I mentioned this. My brain's just out right now. The game came out in February of 1991. I don't know if I said that earlier or not. If I did, sorry for repeating myself. My brain's just out of it right now. But all in all, very, very fun game. I highly recommend it. It's one of those games that is just an arcade fun. If you like shooters, it's fun. This version of Dick Tracy is a good one. So anyways, this has been Eric, the one and only Bay Area Collector. Hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay footage of the game. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.